And good morning to you all. I'm meteorologist Tom DeVecchio. Welcome to another version of the Weather Academy. And as we speak here, we got a major storm system brewing over to our south and east. So I thought today we can chat a little bit about that and kind of get you in on some of the major players and what we look at when we have a complex storm system just like this. So Cindy, go ahead and pop up the satellite there, full screen there. And what we have here for today, this is, again, as of this morning, we do have this area of some cloud cover here, and we'll put this into motion. You can see this dashed line right here, that's called a trough. That is an area of low pressure. And in fact, as we spread the picture out here and move things up, we find that we do have the low pressures are way down here in the southeast with that trough extending northward. Troughs usually extend from the low. You can see it kind of curves to the right. Interesting look there. But you can see the trough, even though it's far away from the low pressure, it still has a lot of color in here and a lot of precipitation. So what's happening? Well, we've got the blue and the whites are snow. The pinks are a mix, and the traditional red to green to reds and yellows here are the rainfall amounts. And this is a typical coastal storm. This one is kind of a double-barreled one, and we do expect this to move up the east coast. So what's happening, this low is bringing a lot of moisture into the trough. That's why even though the trough is far away from the low, the circulation, the counterclockwise circulation, brings that moisture in. And what it also does, it brings in warmth because the oceans are, even up in the Carolinas, they're relatively warm. They're warm relative to the land. So it makes for an interesting and very complex forecast. Now, up our way here, we have mainly snow because the air is just too cold for anything more than snow up here. But with that warmer air, it hits the coastal areas, and so we have primarily rainfall here from Richmond down toward Raleigh, and you can see some pretty good rain. But when we get toward the Roanoke area, here is Virginia, this is North Carolina. The air rises, and remember, when air rises, it cools, and therefore what we're seeing is that the rain is mixing with some sleet and some freezing rain. Now down farther south, it also rises because the mountains go all the way down into Georgia, but it's not cooling enough to change anything to snow or a mix. So it's all rain here basically from Charlotte and Raleigh south. But in this area from the western portions of Virginia, and that will eventually probably go up even into West Virginia, Maryland mountains. We could see that mix come in, and that can be kind of a rough go for them, even if they don't get a lot of snow. So this trough is the center of the upward motion, and that's why we're getting that snow into the region. So then we head on over to the next graphic, and this is our futurecast. And most of you know that our futurecast gives what the computer models of what they think is going to happen. Notice by the end of the day, we find the precipitation comes in. But I want you to look at the arrows here. Notice the arrows going from right to left. That is an easterly flow. So what that tells us, as we get into I'm just going to restart this here. So as we get into the evening hours, notice we're getting into the evening, it's still east. That tells me that the low is still to the south because on the northern end of the low, we expect those easterly winds. Notice too, the blues here, all snow, little mix down here, just east, south and east of Pittsburgh. The darker blues though, that's the steadier and heavier snows are hitting the eastern part of the state where they can get 1.5 feet of snow. But we're still getting, as you can see as we go back and forth here, we're still getting some snow pretty much for the balance of the night. And now notice how quickly it dissipates by daybreak. Notice too, the wind's starting to go north here in the Cleveland area. And notice how these arrows down here west of Pittsburgh, they're converging. So that is an area of low pressure where air is coming in. You have the northwest winds here, the easterly and northeast winds here, and you're getting that low pressure. And that's why that's why we keep the threat of some light snow for tonight. And notice, so the low doesn't move east very quickly. So most of the snow into tomorrow, this is all tomorrow, is centered around where you see these arrows coming together, the convergence. And then you can see it even comes to our neck of the woods for Thursday night. So we're not out of the woods when it comes to snow because we still have all this convergence here. And notice the circulation, okay, the circulation here. They kind of get this half circle. That's indicative of more low pressure because lows have air circulating counterclockwise. And finally, by Friday or Thursday night into Friday, the winds finally shift to the north here in Erie, and that means that the low pressure finally starts to move out. So when we look at the futurecast, and you can come back to me here, Cindy, when we look to those, what we call the futurecast, we not only look at the bright colors, okay, to see where the precipitation is, we look at the wind fields. Are they coming together or are they spreading apart? They're coming together, low pressure, may want to keep the precipitation in, high pressure going out, maybe things will finally come to an end. But this snow, we'll have some pretty good snow here. We'll have some here in Erie, but farther east could get maybe up to a foot for areas east of Warren, while we get about 1 to 3 here in the city of Erie. So that's some of the major players of this coastal storm. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy your day.